Mike, welcome to the Right Boundless podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. So you're a motor cop.
That's right. I've been working in Los Angeles County for almost 10 years now.
Nice, man. 10 years. That's quite a bit. Are you originally from LA?
No, just outside in Riverside County. That's where I grew up. And
Nice.
I remember after I got out the Marine Corps in 2012.
Thank you for your services.
Thank you. I was looking for a career in law enforcement and had applied to a bunch of agencies. And eventually I got hired by the LA County Sheriffs, then lateraled over to my new department. So I've been there ever since. So it's been good.
That's awesome. In the Marines, were you an MP?
No, I was actually just a regular grunt rifleman and I just did 4 years, and that was enough for me to say, yeah, I'm good, and I think I want to do a career in law enforcement.
Did you do that? It's something you want to do, your family pushed or anything, or it was just like...
It was something that I wanted to do from like a young age, like probably as young as like maybe 5 or 8. I just wanted to be in the military.
Yeah.
Then once you get older, I started to figure out, okay, what's the Army like? What's the Marines like? And I think the Marines were a good fit for me. So I did that right out of high school. So.
What were the, I'm just curious, what were you looking in the difference of each military branch?
I don't know. I think just at the time, probably just talking with different recruiters. The Marines probably like the hardest. Like,
hardcore. We going first.
Yeah,
we're crazy.
It was
Air Force dorks. I'm kidding.
It was all about that. So and I remember just talking with the Marine recruiters. They were cool, and then I just kind of saw a good fit for me. Just going into infantry, which was crazy at the time, but
times have changed, huh?
Oh yeah, they have. And I remember at the time when I had left, a lot of the policies were kind of falling off. So I think I got out at the right time. It was 2012 I got out, and then I would get hired as a police officer in 2014. So even then was just different times too. So
you were, and this might be a goofy question, but the difference between like local police, sheriff, and CHP, like what's LA County police officers are just the county. CHP is obviously the highway. What's sheriff's jurisdictions?
Well, the sheriff's, for LA at least, it's all of Los Angeles County. So they'll have, I think there's about 30 different stations within LA County. Yeah. Plus you have the jails, plus you have the court systems that they operate as well. So
that's all ran by the sheriffs.
It's all ran by LA sheriffs. It goes as north as Lancaster and as far south as like some parts of Long Beach, because they also run the train stations too. So the sheriffs are everywhere. As the saying goes, the bear goes everywhere. So,
yeah, of course.
Yes, it's a different dynamic. It's obviously a huge department, the largest sheriff's department in the country. But I wanted to go somewhere else that had a better schedule and then better pay. So it led me to
benefits, pay. So you want something a little bit more private.
Right. So it led me to my current agency that I'm with now. So I'm glad I made the move. But I still have a lot of friends and family that still work for the sheriff's department. So I kind of have like a good understanding of how it works still to this day. So.
You have your connections. When you became, because you're a motor cop, do you apply to a police officer and check the motor cop box and say, I want to be a motor cop, or what's the process like that?
No. So,
and I'm being sarcastic on the question, but I would like to know that.
So when I was at LA Sheriff's, I was already looking to see what I was going to do. And ultimately I looked at the requirements to be a motor at LA County Sheriff's. And I know you needed like 2 years as a patrol deputy, and a lot of other requirements, traffic related. So you had to take like courses and stuff, and they want you like, well checked off. So when I had lateraled, I went to my new agency and I started to ask around like, hey, how do you like being a motor cop? I would talk to all the motors, and their response was always the same. It's the best job in the world. Try and apply and put your hat in. So I remember the first time around, the only requirement you needed was to be on patrol for a minimum of a year, and you have to have your M1 license by the time you go to motor school. Yeah. So, and you have to have, good rankings and all that stuff, like make sure you're good with your supervisors and your peers that you work with and stuff. And they also look at your work productivity too. They want to know, because obviously when you become a motor, like your main job is traffic enforcement, traffic education and stuff. Yeah. So they want to make sure you're writing tickets and taking collision reports, and you're just wanting to push yourself. So, I put my name in the hat the first time, didn't get selected. It actually went to three other potential officers that were better than me at the time. So I wasn't like
at the time.
Yeah. So
just for the record.
So I wasn't, upset about that. They were good cops and they went to be good motor cops. The second time around I got it. But in between time I was taking, basic accident investigation, commercial vehicle enforcement. I was like, hey, I'm going to get my M1. I even bought my own police motorcycle just to kind of practice a little bit. And ultimately I got selected, which was in 2021. So then I would go on to motor school at California Highway Patrol's motor school, which in the world of motor cops, like if you go to CHP, it's kind of like the top.
Yeah, that's like
the top school. It's a good, because it's not even really a school. It's more like an evaluation. Like you kind of have to already go in there being like a good rider. Now they're just evaluating you on their testing process and how they test their motor officers, because it's a very stressful school and the attrition rate is pretty high. Like if you go in with 10 officers, that's a good chance that only half will pass.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty tough.
And that's like the top of the top, the cream of the crop.
Yeah, so when you like tell people, like when we talk, oh, what motor school did you go to? They're like, oh, some guys went to Anaheim, some guys went to, LA.
Kidding.
But when they're like, oh, you went to CHP, like, oh shit, like,
That's the top, yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool. I'm glad.
Now, how long is that training for?
It's 80 hours.
80 hours.
Yeah, so you start on a Monday and you go to Saturday. And then the following week, it's Monday through Friday. But, I mean, it's just every day you're riding, like, from 7 all the way to 4 p.m.
Intense.
And you're just fucking beat at the end of the day, just riding all day. But if I can go back, I would go back in a heartbeat. It was so much fun.
Yeah, it sounds
stressful,
like
but it was a lot of fun. I liked it.
And a true honor to complete it and finish it.
Yeah, especially for, me now. It's a small agency guy.
Yeah.
You go to like that school. It's very professional. It's I'm proud to say I went there. So
yeah. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. How stressful? I've mentioned Quinn Redeker many times on my podcast. The first time I interviewed him and we talked about being a moto cop, it was like, there's so much going on. There's like you're looking for traffic, infractions. Then it's like, all right, I'm going to stop this car, but before I turn on my siren, do I have space with the car behind me, the car next to me? If he pulls over, where did I put the kickstand down? And, there's oncoming traffic, and where's my gun? If they start shooting, where do I hide? Like, give me your version of that.
Yeah, it's definitely a learning process, because when my instructor, as soon as I graduated, I had to ride with him for 2 weeks. Yeah. So he's basically riding behind me, but he's just watching me to see how I, do traffic stops. And after every traffic stop, he would give me pointers or give me some advice and stuff. And then we would do long rides. But yeah, you have to basically, at first you're just learning how to ride the motorcycle in school and stuff. Now you got to look at the controls on the BMW, which there's buttons everywhere. Now you're having to manipulate the button to talk to dispatch, activate your lights and sirens. Now you have to kind of look for violations, and which then it's kind of like, okay, well, I'll stop this guy for, whatever the case is.
Yeah, expired registration.
Yeah, now you have to pull him over. Now, do I want him to stop right on the shoulder right here with traffic behind me? Heck no, you wait for him to pull over to the right out of traffic where it's safer. And now you have to be that officer dismounts. You got to look at traffic behind you. And now you have to approach the vehicle. Keep in mind, you're still keeping officer safety and contact the driver. So there's a lot of things to do. But even when you're doing your 2-week process, or some people, it's like a month long too. But CHP, they do a month long. Yeah. So as soon as you graduate motor school, you're riding for like a month, and you're just going all over the state. Some guys go far. It's crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's fun too. But even after that, you'll develop your own style. So your CMTO will tell you, hey, yeah, he's good. You're full to go 10-8 as a motor, and you're by yourself now. So even then, it's just a learning process, and it probably takes maybe, I would say, a couple months to where you're kind of getting the feel for things, and
like 4 or 6 months.
You're comfortable with yourself, and you're comfortable with the motorcycle and everything like that,
surroundings and everything else.
Yeah,
because the big surprise, like I kind of expected most of that. Did you put your kickstand properly? This, that.
Oh yeah, because man, I remember one time, or actually even a few times, even just recently, I was pulling over a car just off of Sunset, and the street is like concave like this. And I'm like, man, I have to like practically back up to the curb just to avoid dropping the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Then I approached the driver and I'm like, all right, sorry it took so long.
Yeah, and you don't even get to like like when you're pulling somebody over, you don't even get that chance of like where are you putting your feet?
You're almost at a disadvantage too because
big time.
Because a car you can just park it, get out real quick, dismount. Sometimes you have to just find that area, or hell, I'll even pull over on a sidewalk if it's a flat surface and I don't have to worry about anything. So yeah, it's just you got to adjust on the fly, and you got to just.
Yeah, like all that stuff, I could imagine that or kind of like figure it out. But the one that threw me off that I was surprised too was, you also gotta look around, because when you turn on that siren, people flip out. So some people's reactions to brake, some people's reactions to,
Oh yeah, so forget it.
It's like, all right, I'm gonna pull this over, but what's going on behind me? What's going on next to me? Oh shit,
Yeah, people literally just stop like in the lanes. They don't pull over to the right anymore. It's just insane. So you just gotta be really careful out there. So
yeah, man, it's super risky. Would you say it's the riskiest cop position?
Absolutely. I will argue that with anybody. It is the most dangerous job within law enforcement, because
more dangerous than being in a bad neighborhood as a police officer.
As a police officer, because every time you sit on that saddle, every time you ride, every time you ride, you're pretty much like at risk of getting killed, seriously injured in a crash or what have you on a motorcycle. At least when you're in a car, now you're protected. You have a seatbelt on, airbags to protect you. I mean, if you get hit, you're going to get hurt. And I've been tagged twice on duty. I hate to say it, but
tag meaning
I've been in an accident or a collision, basically.
Front, back, rear.
So my first one, this was probably a year after motor school. And I think the statistics actually show too, you're more likely to get into a on-duty collision as a motor cop within the first 2 years. Like it's like a 78% chance. I think that's what the numbers were last I checked. And I was right within that. So I was going to a carjacking that had just occurred, and my partner was behind the car. So they asked for a back. I hopped on. So I'm rolling code 3 down Wilshire, and it's all stop traffic eastbound, and I'm in the westbound number 1 lane. And a car just pops out in a side street right in front of my lane. And I remember going I would think I was like 50 miles an hour, maybe a little faster. The only thing I had time to do was to just veer off to the right a little bit. And that car, I ended up hitting like the front hood area, front wheel. And I just got ejected off. I did like a full-on backflip or somersault over, landed on my back.
Oh my
God. I ended up shattering my wrist. My right wrist, shattered it. And I was just bruised everywhere. I woke up in the hospital, my arms hanging.
You blacked out.
Yeah, I blacked out. I remember seeing a few people on scene, but I think the way to the hospital, I blacked out. And I was out for like 14 months.
Yikes.
Recovering. And yeah, that was just a real shit show, because my doctor had looked at my wrist. I had the plate in there after surgery.
Your throttle wrist too.
Yeah, and he was like, "Hey, you got to prepare for the fact that you'll probably never ride again." And that was like,
dick. Why would he say that? No,
well, because he was like, your wrist might not gain the mobility back, so he's like, prepare for that. So I wasn't even like worried about my career as a cop anymore. I was just like, man, I can never ride a motorcycle, because at that point I had like loved it so much, just becoming a motor. And so I worked really hard while I was off duty, just trying to get my strength back and get mobility back in the wrist and stuff. Ended up having another surgery the following February on my knee for like a MCL, meniscus tear. And then I ended up coming back full duty in September. And then that's when I had pushed to go to a motorcycle competition. This was...
we're going to jump into.
Yeah. So I had pushed to go to one. I went to it, but I had just been 10-8 for probably 2 weeks after injury. Oh. So I didn't do too well at that competition. Yeah.
Well, you did it still, which is impressive.
Yeah. So this was the Southern California Traffic Officers Association Motor Rodeo, which is hosted every year, like around September.
Yeah.
And it's only 1 day long. It's a 1 day competition, but a lot of motors show up to it because it's on a Wednesday. A lot of officers can justify a training day. So over like 250 motors will show up on average to this competition every year.
Yeah.
And it's a good turnout. The nonprofit that runs it, the SOTOA, they benefit motor officers and their families if they're ever killed in line of duty or injured. So after my injury, they helped me out. And so that was cool.
God bless them.
Yeah, yeah. And then they helped a buddy of mine out. He had a really bad training accident. And I was like, hey, do you guys help like LA County motors? Because he was from LA County. And they're like, oh, yeah. So I had recommended, hey, this is what happened to him. They reached out and they helped his family out too because his wife had to take work off to help him out. So, it's hard. Yeah, it's a good organization. So
it's hard.
Yeah.
Even with the benefits of the city and stuff, it just doesn't meet the downtime, the insurance, all this other stuff.
Absolutely.
So those organizations that take care of police officers or veterans, hands down to them. They're amazing.
I think most motor competitions that you'll go to are motor rodeos. They'll always have some sort of nonprofit that they are donating all the funds to that help law enforcement.
You have one, and well, actually, let's go back to your second surgery. Mm-hmm. So you had your second surgery, that went well, and
yeah, that went well. That was like a minimal recovery time. It probably took like maybe 6 weeks.
And then you were able to do that the rodeo.
Yeah, so the following
I call them rodeo. I don't know why.
Rodeos. Yeah, I call them that too. Motor rodeos.
Yeah.
So that was in September of 2023 when I came back full duty, and then I had requested to do another one, which was Terry Bennett. So that takes place in San Diego County, and it varies different cities.
That's the one we met. No,
that was
Cajon.
That was SoCal Slow Cons. That was just like a training seminar with Quinn Redeker.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool too. But that was mainly for like the civilian riders. The Terry Bennett one, I think it's been 26 years of this motor competition.
Yeah.
That's just strictly police officers competing.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's mainly all of San Diego County motors, and then you'll get some Arizona cops that come out, and then some Nevada cops that come out too. So it seems like they kind of shift from that one, Terry Bennett, to Southwest, which takes place between Phoenix and Nevada. So it depends on the year. But
what's your preference of motorcycle? Because I know they do it on the Harleys, they do it on the Road King Harleys. Now the BMWs. I mean, I heard there's just no comparison of the technology of a BMW versus the Harleys. In Nevada, they're still rocking the Harleys everywhere, right?
Yeah, they'll never get rid of those.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to some of their motor cops at Terry Bennett in 2024, and they're like, we're never going to change. We're probably going to get the Road Glide or maybe a Pan America, but it's just all Harley there.
Yeah.
And they just had that connection there in Vegas. And it's kind of like the culture there too. Like you have to have a Harley in Vegas because it looks badass.
It's badass.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll be honest. One of the coolest things, not coolest, but one of the most hardcore things I've ever saw is I was in Vegas, and I left the casino, and then I had a friend that wasn't too far away. And as I was going there, it was like 4 a.m., freezing winter, and winter in Vegas.
It's
terrible. It's
rough.
Fucking.
I had no idea it snowed in Vegas. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah. They get snow, but I'm talking about like it's under freezing. Like it had to be like 28 or something like that, right? And at 4 a.m, there you got Vegas's finest right there in their Harley, ready to pull somebody over. I'm like, I was like, that's hardcore. That's a badass motherfucker. Like,
oh yeah,
those guys don't play. Because then same thing in the summer, it's unbearable weather, and then those the Harley, the motors.
Yeah, the heats. Oh my gosh, it'll burn your legs off.
And especially they got the 103s. Probably they're still doing, or maybe 110s.
I think some now are like the 114s.
Oh yeah,
They'll probably have.
It has to be.
Yeah. So those are kind of like the older models, but I remember seeing
I'm gonna turn on one more light.
Sure.
I'm listening.
I remember seeing some motor cops in Pittsburgh, and I think the tradition there is to take a picture underneath this like thermometer. It's like a big screen that will tell you like how cold it is, and it's like in the negatives, and they're still riding on their Harleys. They have a sidecar because it's obviously snowing everywhere.
Yeah, of course.
But they're still riding a Harley. That sidecar is just loaded with all their winter gear, their boots, jackets.
Yeah.
Still riding a motorcycle.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You got amazing technology out there to keep you warm. You got heated vests and heated pants, everything else. But dude, like all night.
When's enough, right?
And then the simple thought of like, which is another thing that motor cops have to worry about. When you pull somebody over, it's like, dude, if you jump out of the car and have to run after you, like, fuck.
Oh no, I'm not running. I'll catch you later, or I'll put out some radio traffic, but I'm not chasing you.
Yeah, that's insane. That's gnarly. But your preference, a bike, Harley or BMW?
I like the BMW, but for competition purposes, I like to ride a BMW. But if you were to tell me, hey, which bike do you want to ride, like out in the city, I would definitely choose the Road Glide.
Yeah,
I think that's just badass. Like when we had test rode it for our department, I probably had it for 2 weeks, and I rode it every day. Loved it. Took it home a few times, and I remember seeing the reactions of people in the city. Like they were just throwing thumbs up. Like, dude, that bike's badass. Like you never got that on a BMW, like at all. No one said anything. Yeah. The minute you rode that Harley down, where I work, Rodeo Drive, dude, everybody's like breaking necks to look at what's coming down the street. So
yeah,
a lot of Harley enthusiasts that are still out there. So I hope one day we.
It's just like you think of the Terminator, you think of like fucking Easy Riders, you think about all the classics, all the cool, the 1%ers, whatever.
Yeah, even like the shows that have been portrayed with people riding Harley Davidsons. You got like Sons of Anarchy, the Lions, like they're all Harleys. People love Harley Davidsons.
Yeah, it's iconic.
Yeah,
it's iconic. And then quick shout out to Matt Laidlaw. They have Laidlaw's Harley Davidson. He's been making he makes the best YouTube videos.
Oh yeah, those are the best YouTube reviews for Harley
ever. He's amazing. And I was just watching one right now, and I'm like, dude, all the technology they got going on right now is amazing. And it's like, finally, you're doing this, Harley Davidson.
But yeah, I mean, it's good that they are, but that tech now for the new street glides, the new road glides. That tech should have came out like 5 years ago.
Dude, it should have come out like 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
On, like I used to work for Harley back in like 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
And I think it was 2008 or 9, they barely changed the frame. And they hadn't changed the frame in like 20-something years.
Yeah.
Then like a year later that year, they brought in ABS. I'm like, you should have had ABS a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. Because when you look at the older BMW police models, I mean, even like the 2013 models were like even light years ahead of like probably maybe like a 2018 Harley police motorcycle.
Oh, for sure.
So I'm like, you got to keep up to your competitors. Like you got to listen to cops that say like, hey, we need this, we need that. I don't know what they're doing there, but even the 2024 Road Glide that I tested out, it still had halogen light bulbs for turn signals. Yeah, like, it didn't have a screen for anything. I was just kind of like, man, I like it, but I would probably throw some money to upgrade it myself just to make it
Which
better.
is what everybody does.
Yeah, but
what everybody does.
For police officer, I don't know if you can, but I would have totally recommended like, hey, yeah, we need to upgrade all these just to make it modernized and make it better. But
what's the deal with Clearwaters? Because I'm seeing Clearwaters on all police bikes.
Yeah,
and I didn't see that 4 years ago.
I think from my understanding, in 2019, Michigan.
Sorry, 1 second. And by the way, Clearwaters is one of the best, lighting.
Auxiliary
lighting in the market, period. I mean, their tech is amazing. They're expensive, but it's well worth it. It lasts forever. They have different sizes. I used to have the Dixies, which are the 5.5, which was like 10,000
like
lumens.
Jesus lens.
Yeah, dude. We got a hookup because we had like 5 BMWs and they hooked it up. But anyways.
Sweet. Yep. Yeah, so in 2019, Michigan State PD did a study about motorcycle collisions, and basically they found a difference that motorcycles with these yellow visible lights on their motorcycles were more likely to be seen at intersections, which is where most of the motorcycle collisions happen.
Yeah.
So that's where that came from. And I think since then you started to see more and more police agencies adopt those Clearwater, those yellow lights, because when you look at motorcycles coming down the road, I don't really notice like the LEDs anymore. Like there's the normal lights, white lights. I notice those yellow lights now, and you're starting to see more and more of the performance bagger scene. They'll have like the Baja designs with the yellow and the white, or just like all yellow lights. Like I noticed those lights way more. So it is a safety feature for any rider that is getting a new motorcycle. Definitely put those either those two little yellow lights, any sort of auxiliary lights, because a lot of companies make them.
Yeah.
Clearwater, Baja Designs, and there's so many off-name brands, but
Yeah, of course.
Put those on your bike because it's a huge safety upgrade.
It's true, because if I think about it myself, there's been many times where I'm just like driving a car or whatever the case is, or a motorcycle, and I'll see like a vehicle behind me, and I'll be like, dude, this guy has like a headlight out, and then it passes me. It's a motorcycle because it's nighttime.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that was a motorcycle. And you're right. When they have those, the two lights, the fog lamps, whatever, you could tell from far away it's a bike.
Yeah.
Same thing. Even that, which I heard there was a study on that too, but the little blue lights they put on the police motorcycles, you can tell from far away. That's a motorcycle cop. What's the study on that?
I don't know, but I think that's just to differentiate a vehicle that it's a police motorcycle cop or something.
I think the study, I mean, everybody knows that, but I think there was a study. I don't know who told me this lie. I'm going to make this up, but I believe I was told that blue, when at that brightness, regardless of your mental state, under the influence, drug, whatever, you can see that color light. So it gives you an alert. It's like another indicator that there's a motorcycle in front of you.
Yeah.
Something like that. But
yeah, I know that's definitely something good to have, because as soon as like somebody sees you, like from what I've noticed, I'm in the carpool lane, I'm splitting lanes. Some people will kind of like block me from going, and I'm kind of like I'm not gonna cite the person, but when I find a window, I'll go around, and as soon as I pass them and they see those blue lights, all of a sudden that vehicle drops back like a mile away, and I'm just laughing. But yeah, I find it interesting. A lot of people are just like such aggressive drivers here in California. Like like some people like understand what a motorcycle is like when they're coming, so they'll scoot over. No. Some people even have differentiated the lights on our police bikes, because we have takedown lights on the Beamers.
Yeah.
So it's like a two horizontal little lights, but those are, we call takedown lights. So we'll have those on, and the minute they see those, they're like, oh, it's a cop, move out of the way. Yeah. So it's kind of funny seeing that.
I noticed, I would say from December 2019 to, I don't know, roughly June of 24, I had the streak lighting. I had the R1250 GSA. Nice. But I had it all white with the Dixies on that. And I had the live wire. And here's what I noticed on my little research going up and down and driving. The Harley, people moved out of the way because they like it. Yeah. They think it's cool. There's a little fear factor. Get the fuck out of the way.
That loud engine.
Let them pass. Yeah. Even though, I do challenge this. People are like, loud pipes, people move out of the way. Mm-hmm. Once you're at 50 miles an hour, they don't hear you. By the time they hear you, you've passed them because the sound's behind you. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. In slower traffic, when it's, bumper to bumper, that's boom, boom, boom. They move out of the way. Oh, yeah. On the BMW, because I had it all white, like I took off the bars, the engine guard, and I powder coated white, painted it white. I mean, everything. People looked at it like it was a cop bike. Oh, yeah. Especially with the Dixies, the Clearwater Dixies. But they moved out of the way, but it was a different move out of the way. It was like respect, like, oh. Yeah. And then later on I could see them like, it wasn't even a fucking cop.
I've done that too when I'm in my POV. I'll see like I think it's one of those like rent-a-cop traffic guys that help with funeral escorts. And I'm like, oh shit, it's motor cop. Slide over. Like, as soon as he passes me, I'm like, oh wait.
And then you look at the uniform, like, why is it brown, dude?
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's funny, but you still
like, come back here, bro.
Get out of the way from motorcycles. Let them pass.
Get out of the way.
Yeah.
And then with the live wire, that thing is tricky because you don't get the respect or the fear factor
because it's electric.
Because it's electric, and then it's because it's so quiet. You have to. The way that I described it is you have to ride it like a ninja. You have to be like, oh, it goes. It doesn't make a sound, but you got to be like. Yeah. That's how you got to cut traffic. Where the Harley's like, boom, boom, move out of the way, boom, 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 and everybody's like, oh shit, fuck that guy. The BMW was like, oh, respect where you get pulled over. The live wire, you just have to just kind of. Like a ninja is the way I described it.
Yeah, I went to a motor competition where they had that there. I wish I would have test rode it because I remember one of my friends did it and he was like, man, that thing is like super fast because it's just instant torque.
It's all torque, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all torque.
But I'm still not sold on the electric world yet.
Look, I'll tell you, this happens with the cars. Mm-hmm. And it's more so on the electric bikes that range anxiety is a real thing. Mm-hmm. Like it's terrifying. And the difference with range anxiety on a motorcycle is that all of a sudden, you're not even paying attention to the road. Like you're looking at your range. Like you're doing one of these. You're like, what the fuck? Like I had 35%. Why is it 25? What? Oh, I don't even. And it's such a distraction that
it's not comfortable riding anymore.
It becomes uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, you have range anxiety, and now you're not paying attention to the road. That was my and I had it. I think for 8 months. It was I had another unit here, and it was a bigger unit. I had it inside my unit. You know, I had the live wire inside the unit. What I wanted to do is because I didn't enjoy riding it.
Yeah.
You know, like when I got rid of the R1250 GSA, I bought it with 2-3 miles, and I put I think it was like 32,000 within the few years, and then on the Harley it was like roughly 22,000. On the live wire, I don't even think I made it to 2,000 miles. So when I had it in my living room, I wanted to make like a little arm and put a lampshade on it, and just like, look at this lamp.
Yeah,
You know, like,
that's
this is
an expensive lamp.
Yeah.
That's funny.
How did you get into riding?
So when I was 13, we had bought dirt bikes, and so my two brothers and I, we started riding dirt bikes. That was really fun. I remember just waking up.
Riverside's like one of those dirt bikes.
Yeah, it's big, especially like in the Temecula area. I was mainly north of that area, but a lot of my friends rode dirt bikes. We would all ride together, and it was just one of those times where we can just ride on surface streets and nobody would care, just because the area that I lived was just kind of like rural, and we would ride all the time. So that probably lasted for probably like a year, and then we got heavy into sports like football and stuff. So I wouldn't get back on a motorcycle until I was 27. And this was after I had graduated the academy. I'm, all right, making some good money. I'm going to buy a Harley. Yeah. So my first Harley was a 2006 Police Road King. Put some 8 hanger bars on that thing, and it was just all black. But I had just had my permit. I didn't know anything about motorcycle training whatsoever. So the way I rode that dirt bike was kind of like how I rode the Harley a little bit. Yeah. So I had like zero training. Like, I think I only rode on the freeway like maybe 2 times. Yeah. And I'm kind of glad I did, because I probably would end up dead.
Yeah, for sure.
So I only rode it maybe like maybe 20 times at most. Then I ended up selling it. Then fast forward, it's 2021. I become a motor cop, and now I'm basically hopping on a BMW that I bought, and then also getting trained on another BMW. So I kind of had to relearn everything, and I kind of had a good understanding of like how to ride. The way police officers ride is just completely different. Yeah. Because it's all about slow speed stuff, and it's all about technique. And sometimes it can be daunting for that motorcycle rider. Hey, yeah, I've been riding for 20 years, and then when you hop into these cone patterns with police motor officers, then you're kind of like, man, it's almost like a rude awakening a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and it's a learning process. You're not going to learn it in a day or two. It's going to take like weeks or months, if that. And now you got to go to motor school and prove yourself. So,
how often are the refreshers for motor school or to be a motor cop? Is there refreshers, or once you're done, it's kind of like you're on the street all the time?
Per post policy, it recommends that you do like quarterly trainings. Oh, but a lot of agencies don't even do that. So,
but you do so much slow cone riding and competitions. Now, talk to me about these competitions. Like this is your side hobby. This is your side passion, and I mean this with all respect. You're sick. I've seen you post like on your lunch break, just watching videos.
Yeah. It's kind of like
you're not sick. You're addicted.
It's like what do you call it? Yeah, it's definitely a passion. But the way I looked at it, because after my 2 accidents, like I didn't want that to happen to me ever again. So that's when I had, actually fast forward a little bit. So after the first competition I ever did, it was the Orange County Rodeo. I didn't do too well. I had requested another one, which was 2 weeks later at Terry Bennett. This was in 2023.
But you just came from recovery too.
Yeah, but my department denied me. You can't go. So I ended up going to this competition as a spectator. My buddy and I went. And I think that was like the gut check moment for me, because I saw these 2 guys from Arizona. One was from Pinal County Sheriff's, and the other guy was from Surprise PD in Arizona. And they were fucking fast. Like I'm watching them on the speed course. I mean, they're dragging their floorboards or their foot pegs on the beamers. I mean, they're good. Yeah. And I was just blown away. I'm like, dang, if I'm going to start taking motor training seriously, I'm going to have to start training, and I got to find out somebody who can teach me. So I remember that day I was driving home after the competition. I put in a memo to quit SWAT.
Yeah.
I quit SWAT because I'm like, if I'm going to start training and doing this, it's going to take up a lot of time, and I don't want to be questioned about where my commitment is. Like, oh, are you on the SWAT team or not? So I ended up just quitting.
What a crazy decision.
Yeah. And then I hit up Quinn Redeker. My buddy and I went to go talk with him in person and just kind of picked his brain. Hey, I want to do what you do. How did you do it? And what do I need to do? So he basically told me, hey, send me a video of you doing figure eights. And I sent it to him. He gets back to me and is like, all right, look, not to red pin you, but all right, this is what you're doing wrong. Let's fix this. And he basically gives me homework. And for probably since November of 2023 all the way till March 2024, I'm training every day that I'm working for probably like an hour at minimum.
Wow.
Training all the techniques that he does, watching all his videos. Even my friend who lives in the city, he's watching all the videos too. So he's kind of like my coach too. He's watching what I'm doing and nitpicking everything. And so we're just, it's like almost like Rocky, you know, you got your coach and you're just training. So I ended up looking on the schedule. It was Bakersfield that's coming up in 2024. That was their first motor comp. So I go there, and then I end up actually doing pretty well. I take first in the novice class because technically that was like my first time in a rodeo.
Right.
And then that's where I met Eddie Chan. And then he kind of knew who I was right away because I had notes on my tank. Yeah. That Quinn does too. He was like, oh yeah, like, you know, you're a Quinn Redeker disciple. So I kind of laughed, and we hit it off pretty well. He's a good dude, phenomenal rider. And I remember watching him. He was just smooth in the course. So he took first in the expert BMW class.
Nice.
And then after that, I was like, hey, I want to go to Folsom, because at that time the department had let me take the department bike, and I went to Bakersfield. I did well. Then I put in for another one. Hey, I want to go to Folsom. It's in April. Then I got denied. So I was like, well, I know I'm a good rider. I'm going to take it upon myself. I bought my own brand new police motorcycle, a BMW from Long Beach BMW, and I took that to Folsom. I didn't do too well there. I think there was probably like 60 BMW riders, but I took fourth overall in expert. First time in expert, took fourth. So that was kind of a learning curve for me too. And then fast forward, I went to Reno in June. Then I took third in the expert class. Nice, yeah. So that was behind Craig Howard. He's from Fresno, PD. Excuse me. Another good rider.
Yeah. Yeah, Fresno's another crazy area to ride in.
Yeah. And then Eddie Chan took second in the speed course, and I was third. And then I just kind of got hooked. I'm like, all right, well, where's the next one I can go? So Texas was having one. It was their Iron Horse Shootout. I went to that. Did well. Took first.
Iron Horse Shootout, so you get to shoot too?
No. They just call it the Iron Horse Shootout. Cool. But that's another like legit motor competition in Texas, and that's obviously in the northern part of Texas. So I took first in that one in the speed course, and then I just kind of just went with it. I'm like, all right, well, I started applying the schedule and seeing which ones I can go to, and you hit up other motor cops like, hey, you're gonna go to this one, and we all see each other at the same ones for the most part. So yeah, I think in 2024 I did 9 motor competitions, and I placed in all of them except for one.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Random question to bring back to the Marine part. I heard a rumor that Marines can't purchase a motorcycle or not are supposed to have a motorcycle while they're in the doing service or contract. Is that true?
I think it is, because if you do buy a motorcycle and you want to ride it on base, you have to have all this type of training that goes with it.
Right.
And then you have to adhere to other safety requirements. Like I think you have to wear
they made it very difficult.
Which is good, because I think I had a friend in the Marine Corps. He died on a motorcycle, like on the 5 freeway near San Clemente. And I don't think he really
should have been on a bike. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe that's what it was. My brother, whatever, because there's the whole Marines and whatever. He was in the Navy. He was on the USS Abraham Lincoln. I'd go visit him a lot. And that's where somebody told me that the Marines can't have motorcycles because they were killing themselves in motorcycle crashes than, anything else. It was like a very high. So they made it very difficult, almost to like it's impossible to get a motorcycle license.
Oh yeah,
Run a motorcycle.
I believe it because the fatalities are probably high at the time.
I mean, you got these 18, 19, 12-year-old, 20-year-old, kids that are Marines. Hoorah, hoorah,
and they just want to get some adrenaline going and do it. But yeah, I think now they have to have a lot of like safety requirements. You have to have training so often, which is good. And I think it should be like that even for everybody else too, because some guys, I think I saw that podcast with Matt Laidlaw and that NYPD motor cop, Robert Simmons.
I didn't see that.
Be the boss of your own motorcycle.
Yeah.
And he talks like some guys have their permit for like 10 years and they don't really have any formal training and stuff like that. And, it's kind of true. I think there's some parts of the world where you got to have like different licenses for different CC motorcycles. And that's how it should be.
Yeah, Europe is like that. You want to jump on a 250, you got to get your 250 license, and then you got to write that for like 6 months to a year before you can apply to like a 500, and then it keeps going up.
So right now I'm training three motor officers or 3 cops to be motor officers. They're going to school next month, mid-March, and I was telling my friend because we were both academy classmates. He did the 2-day MSF class, and then I get him 2 months later, and we're practicing on Christmas Day, New Year's. And I'm telling him, I'm like, dude, when I got you, you just did the 2-day MSF class. Like you were, I'm not saying it was horrible, but I had to blow out the patterns a lot for him. He was struggling, quite a bit, which is normal.
Yeah.
But now look at him now, we probably had like, I would say maybe 20 good training days, 3 hours each.
Yeah.
And there's a night and day difference from when he first started till now. And he hasn't even went to school yet. He still has like another roughly a month till he goes to motor school. And by the time he gets there, dude, he's going to be solid. But I'm like, I can't imagine like taking a 2-day MSF class. And then what some people do, they go to a Harley dealership, buy a street glide or a road glide, and then they're riding that thing on the freeway. I'm like, oosh. Like,
but with Harley, this is another thing that I always kind of like discuss. With Harley, I feel you're better off with a bigger bike than a smaller bike. Well, this is the thought process. Number one, most people go into a Harley dealership and buy their first bike and they get a Sportster. All right, they get a 883 or a 1200.
Yeah.
99% of those people within 4 months outgrow that bike.
That's true.
99, if not 100%. And now they want to trade it in. They're going to take the loss, this, that. That's number one. Number two, a 114 cc or cubic inch or a 110.
Yeah.
It's not like a street bike. Like it's almost close to 2,000 cc's, but it's not the performance of 2,000 cc's.
Right.
What I notice is, and actually tell me what you think about this thought. The heavier the bike is, the better it runs, the better it handles, the better it turns at slower speeds.
I don't know, because I've never really rode the lighter motorcycles, I guess.
You can't do what you're doing on the BMW or what people are doing on Road Kings or Street Glides. Like I did my DMV test on a Street Glide.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Like I was riding for years, and then what happened is that I was going to meet somebody at Glendale, and they were supposed to bring a scooter, and I was going to in trade of a 6-pack of beer, or it was like a 12-pack. So I called the guy up. I'm like, hey, can you bring the scooter? He's like, yeah, no problem. Next day, he doesn't show up. So I'm like, fuck, dude, this guy didn't show up. Like, what am I doing?
So you got to do it in the Street Glide.
I got the Street Glide. This Armenian lady walks up to me, and she's like, you're going to do it on this? And I go, I don't have another thing. And then the security, some dude, he's like, you're going to do it.
They're all watching.
I had a crowd. They're like, and the lady tells me, I've had, bikers come here that are like 6'3", beards all tatted up. They come in scooters. Are you sure you want to try it on this? And I go, yeah, I'll try it on this. And anyways, I did it. Once I did the first circle and little 8, I did it. Everybody walked away like, this guy's got it, right?
Good.
But I'll try that like on a smaller bike. I wouldn't be able to do it on a Sportster. There's something weird. I can maneuver my Street Glide or even an Ultra. Like I used to help out with Eagle Riders, and then every time they had like a tourist from China or something like that, all the employees would grab a person, put them on the back of the bike, and we would do this little turnaround. And I could take these turns crazy on the Ultras or Road Glides or Street Glides that I can't do on the smaller bikes because of the center balance or
that is true. The Harley Road King Electric Glide or the Street Glide, And the Road King, yeah, they're just the low center of gravity that they have, and they're just...
You just hold the brake down, the rear brake, and then give it gas, and you could just stay in this position like all day, like with almost zero effort after you get the hang of it and you learn how to ride it.
So when you see some of the top Harley guys at motor competitions or motor rodeos, dude, they're badass on a Harley. I know a guy from Amarillo, PD. His name's Ken Donay. He's badass
name.
Yeah, dude, he's legit. He'll play for keeps. Like, he hates to lose. Like, if he comes in second or third, hates it. He's all about getting first place. And I think he has like over 100 first place trophies like over the years, because he's kind of an older guy.
What's the saying? If you ain't first,
you're last.
You're last.
Yeah. He's one of those guys. But dude, when I was at Iron Horse, so my second time that I got was a good time. I think it was like 1:18 or something.
Yeah.
He was on a Road King, and he got just 2 seconds slower than me
on
a Road King.
Oh,
so there's a lot of good guys out there that can throw around a Harley very well, and they'll beat practically most people on a BMW.
And this is what I mean. The things that I've seen the Road Kings or these bikes that we're talking about compared to, the Dynas or anything else, there's no comparison.
Yeah.
So that's fact number one that I've witnessed and seen and I've done. Number two, when you're on a freeway, when you're on a smaller bike, you get pushed around a little bit more with the wind or cars passing you up or everything else.
Yeah.
Where if you're on a heavier bike, you have better suspension, you have better braking.
It's comfortable too.
It's more comfortable.
Yeah.
Like my point is, I think people are so intimidated by the size and the appearance of a heavier bike, but not realizing that once you get into it, it's way easier and better than the smaller bike.
But that's where the training aspect comes in. You got to train on the bike that you're going to be riding, and not just, hey, hop on, I'm going to go on the freeway and stuff.
I mean, but like even me, when I started in street bike, I picked up the 1200 custom, Sportster. And again, that 4-6 month window came, oh my God, this has no power. This thing sucks, blah, blah, blah. This is
no fairing.
No fairing. Oh, how do you do this? Oh,
that's like the biggest thing I need on a motorcycle is a fairing. Cause man, I hate being like
right now,
kicked around
the
like that.
BMW R9T that I'm riding right now is the first bike in probably 20 years since that 1200 custom that I don't have a fairing or a windshield. And you know
really?
what? Don't get me wrong. It's not bad.
But you can put a fairing on that one, right?
Yeah. They do like the little bullet ones. I'm contemplating. Like right now, I'm going to get a new bike, and I'm just like, oh, dude, what do I want to do? It's like my street glide was completely done up.
Yeah.
Once I got done with my street glide, I was like, if I buy another Harley, I'm going to get a CVO, I think. I'm going to get a fucking CVO because...
Dude, that's my goal.
Yeah,
a CVO Road Glide ST,
Dude,
baby.
the STs are fucking sick, especially now with the carbon fiber and everything else, and on the way they're tuned. It's just, I've built out so many bikes. I mean, I probably have had over 15 Harley Davidsons.
Nice.
Because I worked for the dealership.
That's true.
So I would buy, and then people would sell mine, and whatever. The amount of downtime your bike is every time you make a modification, somebody's going to paint it like 2-3 months, you order parts, 2 weeks for this, then you take it somewhere and somebody's installed. The amount of time that's lost, rotors, negotiations, freebies, no freebies, trades, whatever, cross promotions.
Right.
It's such a fucking headache that I think I just want to get a CVO or...
Where it's already done up. You don't have to do anything to it.
You don't have to do nothing to it. Especially now, these CVOs now are so much better. The Road Glide CVOs are insane.
Yeah, the only thing I would probably do to a CVO Road Glide ST if I were to buy one tomorrow.
Exhaust.
Not even the exhaust. I would just put a taller windshield on it. That's it, like a cool Clockworks one or something. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't... like I need that fairing like right at eye level,
Yeah.
But that's probably the only modification I'd probably do to it. And then it's just, I like that new red color they have.
Yeah. I was going to call it crimson red, but that was what they called it back in the days.
Yeah.
But that I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I would get it just like that.
That's 2024. Now the 25s have different colors, right?
Oh, no. So the 2025s have the red one. They have like some gray looking one. And then they have like a black with like the red checkering or something like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And it's cool, but I would just choose the red one. And I don't even like red. The red just looks badass on that bike.
What is it? Have you ridden a street glide before?
Yeah.
What is it about the Road Glide that you like over the street glide?
Well, I think the whole hype behind, especially for like, the world of police motor officers, when we found out that they were going to come out with a Road Glide for the police models, like I was like, oh, fuck yeah, like it looks badass. So there was a hype for that. But when you ride it, I mean, it feels good just having like that fixed fairing. I didn't really think much of it. So I had a chance to ride a Harley Davidson Electric Glide on a cone course.
Yeah.
And then the Road Glide too. So if I were to like pick between the two, I'd probably pick the Road Glide more just because I like the look of the shark nose fairing. And I would say generally it just handles the same almost.
It handles the same.
Yeah.
It's the same width.
But I still like the look of the traditional Batwing fairing. Because to me, when I think of like a motor cop, like I always think of a police officer on a street glide or the electric glide, you know, the tall leather boots, even the hat, 3/4 or half shell helmet. Oh yeah, like that classic motor cop look. And the Batwing fairing is just like iconic to me. So I don't know. I would still probably choose the Road Glide, but I'd be happy with a electric glide too because those are cool.
Yeah, my dilemma is you know, because I've owned both of them and I've had it for very long times. The width is the same. People don't understand that, but the width is the same.
I think the frame's the same too, no?
Yeah, it's the same frame, same everything. It's the same thing, but for some reason, I feel like the Road Glide, if you're a little bit taller, is better. I feel like it's a little stretched out. I mean, I guess you can move your bars, whatever the case is, but even the floorboards and the controls feel a little different. But again, that's probably the seat.
Have you rode a street glide or a road glide with a tractor seat?
The tractor seat? No.
Like the police tractor seat that
with the springs?
Yeah.
No.
So that's a different feel too. I think most people like that because it kind of pushes you up further on the bike where you want like your balance point. I like that seat. Maybe I would probably upgrade to that if I ever got a Harley Davidson down the road.
Yeah.
Just so I can still compete with it, you know, be kind of cool.
Yeah. No, I love, so here's my pet peeve with the Road Glide. Well, I'll tell you what I like about the Street Glide. What I like about the Street Glide is that when I'm cutting through traffic, you can maneuver the fairing past mirrors.
That's true, yeah.
Like at slower speeds, you like do. That's number one. With the Road Glide, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Number two, you said you would have to get the higher windshield. You definitely have to get the higher windshield, even though it looks cooler with the smaller windshield, because you have this huge fairing, and with the stock fairing that it has, it's almost impossible to ride the bike without a full face helmet, which everybody's doing anyways, which is great.
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised that once you hit like 40, 50 miles an hour, you can't hear your radio. It's like all that, other than the look, it's like almost useless, if it makes sense.
Oh, okay.
You know, that's my thing, but I mean, the customizations that are available for the Road Glides are so sick right now. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, there's just so many companies that are building performance parts like nonstop. It's like
insane.
Open a catalog and just put your finger down. You're gonna get some good parts for it.
Yeah, yeah. My buddy just picked up a BMW K1600B.
Okay.
And you know he fixed up his Harley. He has an ST, but he's changed everything on the ST. On the BMW, he's about 6'2", 6'3". He's like, I need a different seat. And we're like, who makes seat for, you know, BMW? And, you know, there's a couple companies, Sargent and stuff like that. But we couldn't find, like he spent 2 months trying to find somebody to make a taller, you know, seat that pushes back, you know, to accommodate his height.
Right.
And you realize how spoiled we are in the Harley world of all these customizations companies that are out there. You know?
Saddleman, I mean, Lucky Dave's. There's just so many just for seats.
We just picked up a seat from La Perra right here. They're by North Hollywood Van Nuys. There's so many companies and so many. And now Harley's making a bunch of stuff, you know, because back in these days when I worked for Harley, there was only like a few companies. There was, you know, R&S.
Yeah, they're starting to capitalize on the aftermarket parts because now they're making their own like inverted suspension, their shock reservoirs now. I think, what did they company with?
Shoei.
Is it Shoei? Oh, okay, yeah. So they're making their own of that. So that's good. I mean, they're
they used to have a big deals with Shoei for a while.
Well, they're finally listening to their customer base now because, you know, I think that whole performance bagger scene just kind of took over. So now, like a lot of the models are starting to have those upgrades now, which is what they needed. So
yeah,
that's good.
So you're a moto cop, you're living it up in Southern California, you're doing your competitions, life's good. What's next? What are the goals for the near future?
Well, Sunday I'm leaving for Texas, Round Rock, Texas. That's another motor comp that I'm going to. It's called the Sports Capital of Texas Police Motor Rodeo. It's their second year hosting it. So Quinn Redeker will be there. Eddie Chan will be there. So I think we're the only three from California that are going. So we'll see how that goes. And I think it'll be a good test before Bakersfield again.
Yeah.
which is March 15th.
March 15th, yeah.
And then
March 15th, Bakersfield.
Yeah.
It's open to the public?
Open to the public, yeah. If you take a ride out, get a 2-hour ride from LA to Bakersfield.
1 hour from me. I'm kidding.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
1
kidding.
hour. Yeah. Yeah, take a look. It's a good time. They put on a good competition last year, had a good time, made a lot of cool friends from, their Bakersfield motor squad. A lot of good riders that are on Harleys at that unit. And even their CHP office, their Bakersfield CHP office, they got some good riders too.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good competition. I think you got some guys from Northern California coming down from like Fairfield PD, Fresno probably. Oh, San Jose, they're bringing some guys down. So yeah, this will be the first motor competition in California. So that'll kick off everything. And then after that, I plan to go to Phoenix in April for the Southwest Police Motor Competition.
Yeah.
Which will be obviously hosted by Phoenix PD. And then you'll see a lot of Arizona agencies and some officers from San Diego PD will be there too.
Nice.
And then after that, I'm hoping to do Texas again for Grand Prairie, but I'm not quite sure. And then fast forward to July, I'll go back to Iron Horse again. And in September, there's the BMW Motorrad Fest in Tennessee. I'll go to that one. Then Terry Bennett. And I want to say San Francisco is going to have one in October. They didn't have it last year, but I think this year they're going to have it again.
Nice.
So, yeah, just go to more motor comps, get training, and hopefully if there's, excuse me, anytime different riders hit me up. Like the other day I was training a guy from LAPD. He's going to motor school. And, he had hit me up like, hey, can you like help train me and stuff like that? Just worked on a few things with him. So we'll probably link up again to train. So I'm always willing to help riders out and stuff. It's cool. So,
very cool.
Yeah.
As a motor cop, what do motor cops usually see in motorcycles to pull over a motorcycle that we should be careful about for us motorcycle people?
It's probably, no plates is probably a big one. Your speed, definitely. I know, like
when you see a motorcycle well, go ahead.
I know you're trying to like, probably speed is a huge thing. I would say that's probably the biggest one. Cause we all want to go fast, but you're definitely going over the speed limit too. And even I'll have a criteria when I'm pulling people over. Like if you're doing like 15 over, like I'll pull you over. So I would just say, slow down.
But license plates, the positioning of license plates, speed.
Yeah, speed is probably the biggest one. I've even seen people text while riding a motorcycle. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to just, be safe out there riding. I think those are probably like the couple biggest ones, but not too much.
What about exhaust?
It's a big thing. It's a big thing in my city with loud exhaust. Like you got, high-end vehicles, Lambos, all these, modified tuned vehicles and stuff. Motorcyclists, I'll stop every now and then, but they have to be like egregiously loud for me to even.
You got to be a piece of
bother
shit.
them. Yeah, like if you're doing a wheelie, which I've seen, and then you have like the loud pipes and stuff, then you're probably gonna get a ticket. But for the most part, the motorcycle riders that I've seen don't really cause too many problems. It's the ones that are on the dirt bikes, the ATVs and stuff that just run amok in the city. Those are kind of like the big issues that we have. But aside from that, just, slow down and, be safe. That's what I would tell everybody.
What's the stupidest thing you've ever seen a motorcyclist do? And you're just like, hey guys, like don't ever do that. Like,
the other day, actually, it wasn't too long ago. There was a guy going, westbound on one of the major streets, and he's in the number 3 lane, and he's not going too fast, but there was a vehicle that made a left turn right in front of him. But when you look at the video, he had plenty of time to stop. Like, I don't know what was going through his mind.
Oh, I saw that video.
Like, did he think he can make it?
So stupid.
And then
he honked at him, right?
I don't know if he honked at him, but he just nailed the SUV, and he didn't suffer like too bad of injuries, but
yeah,
I'm like, dude, you could have easily because he wasn't going fast.
Right.
That's why I was kind of like, hey, use your brakes.
Slow down or go to the right.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that, I'm trying to harp on. And one of my buddies too, Kyle from SoCal Slow Cons, it's like, dude, get out and train on your bike. see what it's like going 40 miles per hour and do your emergency braking drill, because I think that could have saved that guy a ton of heartache. He probably could have avoided a collision. But yeah, I look back on that, I was like, dang, that was kind of dumb.
That was stupid, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I saw the same video, and the crazy part is the video that I saw is basically what you described, but the difference he sees the cars like making the left lane, but he gets stuck because I guess another car's oncoming. So he's honking him. He's like beep 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 beep. Ah!
Yeah,
it's like,
I'm
dude,
like,
you had so much time,
and that's why I always tell people, I'm like, slow down, or if you're gonna just slow down.
Yeah.
Because you'll have the reaction time if you're going the speed limit. So if that car does make a left, or I mean, there's some things that are just out of our control. Yeah. But if you're just going super fast, you're not going to see that vehicle, and you're not even going to have enough reaction time to even do that braking drill. So just slow down. But that was like the latest thing that I saw. That was like, when I look back, I was like, whoa, that was dumb.
That was pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Anything else on that note?
No.
On the dumb stopper prevention.
I always tell people
take courses.
I always tell people, I'm like, if you're gonna ride a motorcycle, you got to have maturity. Like, that's huge, because if you know how dangerous it is, obviously it'll be kind of like a gut check for you. It's like, okay, I got to be safe. I got to watch out for the other vehicles on the roadway that are like trying to hit me and stuff like that. And you got to have good judgment too.
Yeah.
Like, you just got to know when to slow down, assess everything, and just be a safe defensive rider. Like, those are the two biggest things that I would tell people. If you're going to ride a motorcycle, you got to be...
And gear.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's another thing. I mean, I'm kind of guilty of it too, even as a motor cop, because we just wear like just a wool shirt, and sometimes I'll wear like the tall leather boots, but even those aren't really safe too. So we have a company called Motoport. They make like, Kevlar reinforced pants with pads in it and stuff like that. We have upgraded boots from like, Alpine Stars or CD and stuff. They're obviously offer more protection, but yeah, if you can like wear some sort of like airbag vest or something, I would totally recommend that. And even for helmets too. I mean, I know we wear modulars for work, but even
that's new, right?
It is new. A lot of agencies are starting to go to it now.
Something to do with the public, or how the public was perceiving. I think they wanted. I think the police helmets, the ones before that, what were they? Three-quarter helmets. They wanted to protect the officers more, but a full face was like too intimidating to get like pulled over on.
It does kind of look intimidating, because
like
the one I have has a blacked out visor, and it just looks cool. Like, that's why I like using it.
It's a fucking Simpson helmet.
No, No, I mean, I've heard bad things about Simpson. I've heard they're not really good helmets, but
they look cool, man. But
they look badass. I mean, they just look menacing.
The air. You get a lot of air, especially if you have like an intercom system.
But if my agency were to listen to me and I were to make a recommendation, I would go full face helmets, non-modulars, just full face helmets, because they're obviously more safer. And I would rock an Arai helmet.
An Arai helmet?
Yeah.
Oh, an Arai, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be like my ultimate duty helmet if I can use one. But
yeah, I think, I don't know where I heard this or what study, or again, another fact that I'm making up, but there was something about the police officers wearing full face helmets that just looked too intimidating. So by having a modular helmet was the best way of like showing the police officer's face, but protecting them while riding or something.
Yeah, which I recommend too, because when we talk to somebody, it is nice to, throw the chin bar up, talk to someone face to face. That way they can see you and you can have a better conversation, I guess.
Yeah, of course.
But in terms of motorcycle safety, a full face is going to be much safer than a modular helmet, or even like the 3/4. Some guys have like the half lids helmet, like back east.
Yeah.
But I don't blame them for having that, because it's so damn hot where they work.
Yeah, of course.
So they have to wear something like that to kind of get some airflow, I guess. But from what I heard too, they're actually very safe. Surprisingly, like, I haven't heard any bad things about like Super Seer. They make those half shell helmets, and over there, I know some motor cops back east, and they're like, oh yeah, we like them. They're safe. But some guys still like to have the modular helmets, just because if it's cold, they want to have their face protected,
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've been rocking full faces so long, I can't have anything else. I'm just at that point.
Yeah, I just got my first one from a competition, the Women's Moto Project one.
Yeah,
I won an AGV helmet. It's like an entry level one, but I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. My first
I'll take it.
Full face, I'll take it. Yeah, but eventually I want to get one of those cool like carbon fiber ones.
Yeah.
So further down the line.
It's I'm going to bring up one more statistic that it's my statistic. So I wrote a book called Fearless Rider, and it's just basically it's these conversations that I had at the dealership. It's these conversations that I've had on podcast of like, you know, I've seen people save up $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to buy a motorcycle and then only have like $100 to buy gear. It's like, guys, buy your fucking gear. You got to have $1,000 to $1,500 to buy gear. Wear your boots, wear your gloves, try to have a vest, try to have many things. Take safety courses. I know people that have been riding for 15 years, never taken a safety course. You finally convince them to take one, and they're like, whoa, I didn't know this or that. You know, take safety courses. My statistic is 95% of the people that I've met, accidents that I've seen, 95% of accidents are rider error. Would you agree with that or disagree with that?
I would agree with that too, because I feel like a lot of the accidents I see, oh, the car was at fault, but I'm like, look at the way you're riding. You're going like 50 miles per hour. Traffic is practically stopped, and you're splitting lanes, and that vehicle just kind of crosses over. And it's like, yeah, that vehicle might be at fault for making that left turn over the double yellow, but look how fast you were going. Like, there's no reason for it. So, yeah, I would consider that rider error for sure.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, again, most accidents that I've seen, like I saw when I worked for Harley years ago, one of the first people that I saw like coming in crutches, I was like, what happened to you, dude? And he was like, well, this fucking SUV was cutting me off, so I cut him off and gave him the finger. And I was like, how did that end up? And he goes, he fucking hit the back tire. And, you know, I was like, you know, it's kind of rider error. You know,
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
It's terrible, but, you know,
yeah.
I haven't seen, there's only one accident, to be honest, that I witnessed that it was not the person's fault. We had one of our mechanics, Jeff, and he serviced a motorcycle for a client. And as he was leaving the dealership to do a test ride, somebody makes a U-turn right in front of him, you know, an illegal U-turn to top it off, right in front of him, and he hits. And it was like very dramatic because he was probably in his 50s, but he was on blood thinners.
Oh, shit.
So he was like bleeding out.
Yeah,
it was like really fucking dramatic. But that one, and then there was a U-Haul station on the corner from the dealership, and it was like all the work, you know, the people looking for jobs and stuff. They ran into the dealership. They're like, dude, a car like fucking turned in front of Jeff. Like, we knew them.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the very few accidents. And then there was another one. I was in Monterey County, around Carmel area, and there was a big ride, and there was this one guy, man. I sold him a bike. He was making like $60,000. He had his own company or something, but he was making like $60,000 a month.
Nice.
You know, older guy, probably 62, 63. And he was controlling the traffic from the back, and a car got really desperate and pushed his way through, hits him, and killed him. Oof. You know, like, but I've seen many accidents, I've heard many accidents that I'm like, dude, that could have been preventable.
Oh, you know, when you talk about gear too, it's also like motorcycle maintenance. We had a collision, a fatality. A guy was going westbound on one of the major streets, and then a box truck turned in front of him, and he tried to brake. And I think he was only using rear brake only, which is like something you don't do. You got to use your front brake too.
70% of braking front
brake.
brake.
So he was just dragging his rear brake. He ends up dropping the motorcycle, and he gets run over by the box truck, making that left turn in front of him.
Fuck.
But when we looked at the motorcycle tires, I mean, they were just bald to the point where the outside is like you got wires coming out.
Yeah.
So it's like, how long has this guy been riding his motorcycle like that? And you know,
PSI.
Yeah, PSI, and just also just checking your wheels too. It's like, all right, well, there's wires coming out. You better not ride it and you know, change that tire right away.
Yeah, and wires on a motorcycle is just terrible because the first thing that goes away is the shape of the tire. You know, so that's your indicator of changing your tire. But once you have cables on a motorcycle, you know, it creeped up on me once. I had a buddy of mine riding behind me. He's like, dude, your tires look off on the BMW. And I was like, dude, I have this thing like serviced all the time. And for whatever reason, I think I serviced it like 2 months prior, and
they missed it.
They missed it. I missed it.
Yeah.
And you know, buddy pulls me over, and he's like, dude, your tires. I go, nothing's wrong with my tires. They were fucking, you know, cables, called wires.
Yeah. That's why in motor school they'll teach you like check your motorcycle before you ride every day. So that's why they always tell you to like clean it, so that way you put your hands on the parts. So I've had buddies from CHP. They're like, man, I was riding and I heard some weird noise. I look, you know, the muffler's hanging off on the Harley and stuff like that. Or they'll be clean their motorcycle. And I've done it too. I'm rolling the tire, clean the rims, and sure enough, there was like a nail in the back. So I'm like, so now I gotta call the shop. Hey, come pick me up because I got it flat. So, or you can plug it too. But yeah, check your motorcycle before you ride and make sure your PSI is good. Make sure everything's all in the working order because some guys have noticed like spokes missing or broken. So like, oh, can't ride.
Yeah.
So just be safe.
Yeah, be safe. Prevent that stuff. I'm gonna see you again March 15th.
That's right.
In Bakersfield. I'm gonna shoot out there with a couple guys. Not shoot out there. I'm gonna ride.
I know what you meant.
You know, any websites or where people can find you that you want to share? Or
I'm on Instagram, Motor Unit 6. That's it. So just spell out motor, then unit, and then just the number 6. And then I have a YouTube channel on that too, Motor Unit 6. So it's all just, motorcycle related stuff that I post, just going to different motor competitions and just training, so.
Yeah. Again, I mean it with all respect, but you fucking dork out on the motorcycle.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing.
So I always tell people, cause a lot of people think I'm crazy, cause it's what I'm all about, but I'm like, it's no different than, I guess, the guy that likes to go golfing every week.
Oh, no, for sure.
Or the guy that, likes to ride his Harley every now and then. But for me, like, this is what I look forward to because I do it. I'm trying to do it at least, hopefully 9 times a year or maybe more.
Yeah.
Once a month. Like, that's what I look forward to is just the motor competition. So I'm training for that next competition. And then
they do it internationally too, right? Because I think Quinn told me he did it in Europe. I believe. I don't remember on the first interview I did with him.
I know he's been to Berlin, Germany, where he put on like a demo for.
Well, now because he's
yeah, but I never heard of the international one. The one that I'm trying to go to, but it's just going to be like a lot of money. It's going to be quite a long drive. It's the World Police Fire Games, and they have a motor competition there. So it's kind of cool. It's all, law enforcement officers for their like the Olympics.
Yeah.
And then, so they have a motor competition there.
Their Olympics. That's awesome.
Yeah. So they call it, the police fire games is what they call it. And then it's in Birmingham, Alabama. And I think it's like in the end of June. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to swing it because it's a long drive.
You can do it, dude.
It's a lot of money.
Don't make excuses.
I'm going to see if I can. But if I don't go, it's not a big deal because I think the top riders probably won't be there.
Yeah.
They'll be at the other competitions that I'm going to. Like for sure, Southwest, that's going to be a huge one. This one next week in Texas, that's going to be a huge one. Bakersfield, huge one. So the World Police Fire Games, I think when you contact a lot of the officers that I know, they're not going to go to that one. So if I don't go, it's not a big deal. I would rather wait for the other local ones.
Yeah.
Where you're going to see some of the top riders, and that's who I want to compete against.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully I'll get you back on the podcast. We'll do some more talking, and I'll cover the event on March 15th.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Cool, man.
Cool
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thank you.